Welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman with investingnews.com. Self-custody of Bitcoin is seeing a reemergence of adoption, partly due to an expanding mainstream market. Bitcoin Well founder and CEO Adam O'Brien joins me now to talk about this emerging trend. Hi, Adam.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again. So before we get into the meat of our discussion, I guess you just came out of the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. And one of the big news that came out of that conference was, of course, presidential candidate Donald Trump saying, vowing to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the planet. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 180 from the current administration, so I think that's pretty positive to hear. Personally, I believe that he meant the Bitcoin capital, not the crypto capital, with some small nuance between Bitcoin and crypto. But on the meat of it, I think what it means is going to be easy, and they're going to remove the red tape from current Bitcoin businesses are faced with. He talked a lot about, in that same context, Operation Choke Point, which is where the banks kind of collectively make it very difficult for businesses like Bitcoin Well to obtain banking services. It's quite difficult to obtain banking services, and of course, when you want to transfer dollars to Bitcoin or Bitcoin to dollars, you have to have a bank for half that transaction. So just that in and of itself would be phenomenal. Up here in Canada, it is even worse. Operation Choke Point. I would love to see the Canadian administration, whether it be in Justin Trudeau or whoever comes next. I would love to see similar sentiments. I think that with a United States government taking a positive light to Bitcoin, obviously the Canadian government is going to follow suit, just as it sees how much prosperity will come into the nation. Bitcoin is one of those tools that puts governments into competition with each other because it's borderless money. And so if you have a government that kind of wants to strangle and make it a worse place to operate, then the Bitcoiners just leave. And at the end of the day, you're not left with a booming business that is thriving and enabling your citizens to succeed. You're left with less citizens that have less money. And I think that, presidential candidate Trump understands that. And that makes me very hopeful for the future of the United States of America.
So just on that, the conference still, what were some of the biggest takeaways that you got from that, coming out of that conference?
Oh, I thought it was amazing to see the emphasis on self-custody. At Bitcoin Well, we're an automatic self-custody platform. We are strictly self-custody in Canada. We are the only self-custody platform in the USA. And it's fantastic to see presidential candidates understand that self-custody is different from owning Bitcoin trapped on an exchange or Bitcoin in an ETF. And moreover, it's amazing to see them actually emphasize how important that is for the individual freedoms of their citizens. I was there with a couple of colleagues and my wife. My wife turned to me after and said, "Isn't it incredible that these presidential candidates are saying the same thing that you've been saying for 5 to 10 years?" And it's very, very vindicating. And I think that was the biggest takeaway, was just that, Bitcoin has been on this tremendous journey for the last 10 to 15 years. It started as, just money for drug dealers, and then it's only, money that no one's going to use, and then it was a store of value, and now we're seeing it as an actual freedom tool. And the people running the country are looking at Bitcoin as a freedom tool, and that's pretty remarkable and exactly as it should be. So makes me very bullish on the future. And like I said earlier, Bitcoin puts governments into competition with each other. And, the government that understands Bitcoin the most and gets out of the way of the builders, the ones that are making and trying to make Bitcoin in self-custody very accessible, they're the countries that are going to win.
And maybe for, the benefit of the viewers that are not too familiar with what self-custody means from, the Bitcoin perspective, could you just provide sort of just an overview of what that is and what are the benefits of that?
Definitely. There are 3 main ways to own Bitcoin. The first is through a Bitcoin ETF. This is a proxy or paper Bitcoin, as I call it. All you really have there is price exposure. There's no actual Bitcoin on the blockchain with your name on it, so to speak. The next way is through a custodial exchange. This is like a Coinbase or some other large crypto trading platform that you've heard of. And that's where, again, you have price exposure. You've given them your money. You've traded that money into Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin are staying in their custody. This is not self-custody. This is platform custody. And what that means, the downside to that is that you have to ask the platform's permission to take that Bitcoin out. This was the main problem with FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried was running a custodial platform, and his customers were giving him money, trading it into Bitcoin, and then leaving that Bitcoin on the platform. And the big problem there was Sam Bankman-Fried was basically using his customers' money. And when you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange, you're susceptible to that. You're also susceptible, though, to a big honeypot attack. It's very, very profitable for hackers, black hat hackers, who are nefarious individuals going to attack the Coinbase reserves, going to attack the security of these large custodial platforms. And then the third way to own Bitcoin is in self-custody. This is where you actually take true direct ownership of your Bitcoin in a wallet that you and you alone own and control. And the benefit to that is that it unlocks every single benefit of the sound money that is Bitcoin. It becomes instantly transferable to anyone in the world. You still gain, of course, that price exposure. You can spend your Bitcoin how you please without anyone's permission. And that's where it transitions from some kind of like strategic investment into a freedom tool that gives you full optionality and full control over your future.
And has I know that the self-custody thing is not a new thing, but it seemed to have been, reemerging in recently. Has the technology, one of the challenges, I guess, or the things that are, the challenges that are being brought up in terms of self-custody has to do with, security. Has the technology evolved, and like what are the sort of the challenges, and how are providers addressing that security bit?
Self-custody will be the biggest retail business in the world. This is why I'm so passionate about self-custody and making a self-custodial platform in Bitcoin Well, because I truly believe that if you do not fully own and control your Bitcoin, you are not going to survive in a Bitcoin economy. There are devices, I actually have a couple of them on my desk here. These little devices here you can buy. They're beautiful. They're very, very easy to use. They're familiar. Here's another one. This is fully sealed up in a box. Like, they come in, the multiple different companies make them. They come with guides on how to set them up. Setting up a self-custody device takes all of 5 minutes, and you fully have, like, this little device here is got I'm not sure if you can see it, but I touch that with my fingerprint. And I make a transaction on my phone, touch my fingerprint on this, and then touch that like that, and it's done. The transaction is signed and goes through. It's so simple. It's so familiar. It's so accessible. If you know how to set up an email address, you can basically set up a self-custody Bitcoin wallet. There is a narrative that is difficult, but no more than the narrative that email is difficult. Why would I use email when I can send a letter to the post office? Email is so complex. The internet is too complex. Wow, these are all narratives that have come out. With every new technology, there's a learning curve. But at the end of the day, the learnings are so important, and the necessity for you as an individual to own and control your Bitcoin is so crucial. Take the 5 to 10 minutes to set up a wallet, play with it a little bit, get comfortable with it. You're talking about generational wealth here. 5 to 10 minutes of investment is kind of a small price to pay.
So from Bitcoin Well's perspective, like, what's your approach to self-custody? Like, what's your offering in that regard?
Yeah, every single transaction that Bitcoin Well does gets sent directly to the customer's personal Bitcoin wallet. This actually, once you get over the hurdle of having a Bitcoin wallet, this actually makes Bitcoin Well an easier platform, a faster platform, and a safer platform to use. I'll give you an example. When you buy Bitcoin at Bitcoin Well, if you want to take that Bitcoin to self-custody, all you have to do is send us money. We automatically convert all the money that is sent to us on your behalf. We convert those dollars into Bitcoin. We then send those Bitcoin directly to your Bitcoin wallet, and that's it. The transaction is done. It's one single touch. Versus a custodial platform requires you to deposit funds. You then have to re-enter and trade those funds or transfer those funds from dollars to Bitcoin. Then once that transfer is complete, you have to re-log in again and request a withdrawal. Then the withdrawal will go into a pending state, and someone on the other side has to approve that withdrawal. 4 steps for you to go from dollars in your bank to Bitcoin and self-custody Whereas at Bitcoin Well, because there's only one way to buy, it's directly sent to your personal Bitcoin wallet. It's one single step. On the flip side, in Canada at bitcoinwell.com, you can pay your bills in Bitcoin. This means your Bitcoin wallet turns into your bank account, and you can actually set up automatic ways to just send Bitcoin and have your credit cards be paid. Send Bitcoin, have your telecom bills, your hydro bills, your property taxes, whatever it is that you want. You just have to send Bitcoin from self-custody, and you can live in that way. So I think that we're getting over the hump. People are understanding that the value of self-custody. They're doing the work to investigate and figure out how to self-custody. And then Bitcoin Well has an opportunity to show them that self-custody is actually better, and it's easier. And then lastly, of course, it's safer, because if Bitcoin, something I say all the time, and this really hits it home, if Bitcoin Well turned off its servers right now, we just shut it down, we're done, website inaccessible, platform inaccessible, we're leaving, we disappear, there would be zero customer Bitcoins lost. And this is a massive differentiator between someone like a Coinbase or a large custodial platform that you're familiar with. If they turn off their servers and disappear, there will be hundreds of millions of dollars of customer funds that go into limbo. And that's a very, very problematic thing. Moreover, if they go into bankruptcy, your funds, like Coinbase literally has this in their terms of service, your funds get tied up in a bankruptcy hearing if Coinbase goes broke. So you, by leaving your Bitcoin on the Coinbase platform, are all of a sudden a quasi-shareholder with all of the risk, but with absolutely no benefit as a result of their business practices. So it really is misaligned incentives, and running a self-custody platform brings me great joy and understanding that I am fulfilling our mission to enable independence for the world.
But you've launched in the U.S. Your U.S. platform was launched in September. How could you talk about how that has progressed the U.S. market since you've launched it?
Yeah, U.S. is growing at like 200% month over month right now. It's been really, really phenomenal to see, both from our product side, but also our media and partnership side, both growing in tandem and sync. We just launched the ability to sell Bitcoin from self-custody in the USA. You send Bitcoin from your personal Bitcoin wallet, you send it to Bitcoin Well, those Bitcoins are automatically converted to dollars and sent straight to your bank. It's really an incredible experience. You don't even have to log into the platform to make that transaction happen. We're the only one in the country that allows you to sell your Bitcoin directly from self-custody. We are truly flipping the script in the USA. We're still early. I think we have less than 5,000 users in the USA. We have about 21,000 users total on the platform. So we're still very, very early in the USA, but I do think that this year, with our partnerships and our strategic growth opportunities, we're going to be coming in a big way, and Bitcoin Well is going to have a lot of growth opportunities in the USA.
So what are some of the upcoming catalysts that investors can expect from the company in the near term?
Yeah, we're super excited about our Lightning initiatives. Lightning is a secondary layer on top of Bitcoin that makes it cheaper for customers to use in their custody, and it makes it faster for us to process. So we're super excited about that. We've been launching and playing with that up here in Canada. We're bringing that down to the USA in a big way. This is going to allow us to transfer Bitcoin on the Lightning Network into Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain very, very quickly, again, from self-custody. The secondary one to that is our gift card play. We're going to be allowing both Canadians and Americans, and then broader worldwide customers, to be able to buy a gift card with Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. This is going to really increase our ability to allow our customers to use Bitcoin from self-custody, which again, our mission to enable independence is only made possible by giving our customers the ability to use Bitcoin in self-custody. Moreover, making it easy to use Bitcoin in self-custody. This is our first foray into gift cards in this big way across the whole world, and we're super excited about that.
That's great. Well, thanks again, Adam, for taking the time and speaking with me today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and we'll do it again soon.
And thanks everyone for watching. Join us again next time for another edition of CEO Insights. If you like this video, like or leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exclusive interviews and updates.